Hi, I'm Lanisha Robinson, your host for Career and Technical Education, #Build a Future. Working in St. Lucie Public Schools with the Career and Technical Education, CTE, department, we want to show what our teachers and students are doing in the classroom to close a skills gap in multiple fields. The students in these programs are earning industry certifications, which create more opportunities and options for all students at their high school. In this upcoming episode, you will meet Chef Jessie Strell and Mrs. Cindy Swertfager from Fort Pierce Central High School and learn more about their Culinary Arts program, which is a part of St. Lucie Public Schools. So welcome to the show. Please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Jessie Strell. I'm a culinary arts instructor at Fort Pierce Central High School, where I've been teaching since 2015. Prior to that, I taught at Centennial High School, and since 2005, I've been in the school district since then. Prior to that, my experiences were working for the Ritz-Carlton Hotel Company, the PGA. I've also worked for the Marriott Hotels and Sodexo, which was dealing with healthcare and cafeteria service. So those are my experiences in prior, to teaching.
Okay, all right.
Hi, my name is Cindy Swertfager. I'm the Culinary Arts 1 teacher at Fort Pierce Central. This is my 7th year teaching, and my background is in home economics.
Okay, all right, welcome to the show. Now, Jessie, we'll start with you. I know you actually came from the high school level, and not only, when I say high school level culinary arts program, but can you give us a little bit more history about that? There's a good connection between St. Lucie Public Schools and you.
Absolutely, yeah. So I'm a product of St. Lucie County Schools. I actually went to the old original Fort Pierce Central, where I actually was taking automotive classes and then ended up switching into culinary throughout my years there, and kind of really got into it. And I had 2 different instructors while I was there at Fort Pierce Central. I had Peggy Ash and I had Calvin Lewis. Were both of my instructors when I was there, and I kind of progressed into the culinary field more so my junior year. I wasn't really a strong culinary and high school student with GPA and everything, so culinary kind of motivated me to really tighten up my grades to be able to go to culinary school. And it was junior year where I finally decided that's really what I want to do. With both of those instructors, I actually kept in contact with both of them. And when I got done with culinary schools, working in all these different places, and I also had a catering business as well. Calvin Lewis asked if I can go teach over at Centennial High School, asked if I would work with him, and I worked with him for 10 years. And then the opportunity came up at Fort Pierce Central to be able to really come back home. And Peggy Ash was retiring, and I decided to go ahead and take the job. And so it was pretty interesting how both instructors that inspired me to get into this field both kind of led me back into where I started from. So yeah.
Okay. Now, what ways do you both stay current in the field? Because thinking about, you came from industry, looking at the educational field, how do you stay current with what's going on outside the classroom and make sure that your students are on top of everything?
Yeah, I mean, we work with the Florida Restaurant and Lodging Association, which is a part of the National Restaurant Association, the NRA. They actually put on a lot of professional development stuff for us to be able to take our students to, but also for instructors. We get to go and do about a week's worth of summer training and work in different various kitchens with different various chefs to really kind of keep up with the trends and understanding how the restaurant business is changing, because with us being partially out of it, we have 1 foot in, 1 foot in education, 1 foot into the restaurant business. It's good to kind of understand what's going on out there that we can kind of bring back to the classroom.
Okay.
Right, for me it was especially helpful because I came from a home economics background. So every year this summer we go to Johnson and Wales to that Teacher Training Institute, and it was a 5-year program where you rotated between different courses, baking and pastry, international foods, meats and fishes and things like that. And this year, since Johnson and Wales is closing, it's going to be at Kaiser in Sarasota. So that's where they're holding the Teacher Training Institute this year.
Okay, so for anyone watching and viewing and they're not too sure what the culinary arts programs, oftentimes people are so focused on culinary. Okay, what skills are they coming out of? What is the primary objective you would say that you would stress that is the important piece or the purpose behind the culinary arts program?
The first thing is what we do with with Culinary 1. I'll let Cindy talk more about that. But with culinary, it's a life skill. That's where we always approach the students in the beginning is a life skill. When you get into the advanced part of culinary, we're learning about business. We're learning about how to run a business. We do anywhere from about 30 to 35 banquets in a school year in a normal year. That business and dealing with dealing with the with the population, we do stuff for different churches. We do stuff for the school district itself. We do stuff for the Chamber of Commerce in San Lucie County. We've even had dignitaries from other countries come and visit our district and school, and we've put on a banquet for them. So it's teaching customer relations. It's teaching them how to deal with money, how to order food, and we actually have a whole hierarchy in our upper level advanced culinary classes where we have an executive chef, we have a manager, we have a sous chef, and they're actually checking in the food, checking the product. They're actually holding the other students accountable, and we rotate those positions every semester. And it's really teaching those kids a whole bunch of skills, and really the last thing we're really learning is culinary itself. We're really learning all those other components.
What I start out with is obviously a little bit about the culinary background, the history of culinary. And then I try to open their eyes on a lot of careers, because there's a whole bunch of careers in the hospitality field that they don't even know about. We even cross over into the health field, like nutrition and dietetics. And then safety and sanitation, first and foremost in Culinary 1, because if you don't keep the food safe that you cook, we know what could happen in foodborne illness, and that could be fatal. So, and then I teach them cooking method skills, and right now we're working on knife skills and what are we doing? Stock soups and sauces. So that's what we're doing right now in Culinary 1.
Wow. So you all offer your students the exposure, the experience. I mean, they're literally taking everything that you learn in foundation classes with Cindy, and then to the next level with the upper level classes with you, Chef.
Absolutely.
Now, can you tell us about any students that you all keep in touch with that are actually doing really well in the industry?
Yeah, we have, in all my years of teaching, we've had a lot of different experiences with students. I have a student that works for the Hilton for several years, and actually was working out of Chicago at a 2,400 room hotel as the second. They call it the second executive chef, just second from the very top, running everything. I have a student that I taught years ago, Roberto Hernandez, who actually works at a private country club called MacArthur Country Club in Hope Sound, which is a very private, to the rich and to the privileged, if you will, type of establishment where he's an executive chef. And he always promised me, when he graduates, he's like, I'm going to be an executive chef one day. I'm like, sure you will. He goes, I'll be there before I'm 30. I'm like, okay. And he called me when he was 29 and a half and end up getting the job. He was one of my first culinary students that I taught. So it was really, we have kids out there doing great things, and not every single kid is going to go into the industry. What we end up finding with culinary is a lot of students will realize that they have a gift, and they'll go to college for something else in a lot of applications, because we have about maybe 20 to 25% of our students go into the field. The rest of them don't. So you have to ask yourself, what are they doing? We find a lot of those students end up working the restaurant business while they're going to college, so they can study to become a vet, they can study, become a nurse, but what's always around these college campuses? Restaurants. So those are jobs. And what they end up finding is sometimes they like that job so much and they're so good at it that it's a hidden gift, and end up going into that field itself.
Okay.
We even have a couple students in the armed forces. We have one of our students, Mercedes Manning. She's in the Navy right now, and she's a culinary
Absolutely.
specialist, right?
Yep.
She came back to see us. It was
And
awesome.
about a year prior to that, she didn't know what she was, what she wanted to do. So it was, the kids find their path sometimes just after they graduate, over that summertime, when they realize that high school's over and they do have to do something.
Right.
Yeah.
But for your students, in order to do that, your students obviously they're earning some sort of entry certification to get that entry level job, correct?
Absolutely. And we'll let Cindy, because you kind of start them off.
Right. In Culinary 1, we work on a certification. It is a certified food manager. It's called the National Registry of Food Service Professionals. It's good for 5 years. And once they get that, they're automatically qualified to go into Culinary 2. And then when they work in Culinary 2, they're going to work on getting their ServSafe, which is also, that's a nationally, from the National Restaurant and Food Lodging Association. And that's also good for 5 years. So
Yeah.
they can graduate with the 2 different certificates equal.
Yeah, and both of them, I know with Cindy's, and also with ServSafe, with both of them that we do offer, both of them give them some type of college credit when they go into the industry. And so that's a huge benefit. It also, when they get that certification, also can count as a math credit or a science credit for that student during this, during their high school experience. So it benefits them 3 different times. One, out in the industry, it's recognized because it's a huge money savings to any food industry group. And 2, it's college credit, plus it's also credit while they're in high school. So they get 3 benefits from getting that certification.
Amazing. So if we were to walk into your classroom, what will we see from day to day?
Cindy?
I have a small classroom. It's an old home ec classroom. I only have 1 stove and 1 small kitchen, but we make it work. I also have 2 induction burners, and we're looking to expand the room because a lot of children are interested in culinary. And we have our textbooks, and we now have an online program that we're working as well, KP curriculum. So we mix the online, the textbook, and I probably do labs every 3 to 4 weeks. And then they graduate to Culinary 2, which is across the courtyard, and that's our working restaurant, the Cobra Cafe. And they'll have Culinary 2 with Chef Strell, and then the following year they'll have the 3 and 4 combined classes, which is in the big kitchen with him.
Yeah, and the percentage is, there's a stereotype that, culinary, all they're doing is just cooking and playing with pots and pans. But we teach a lot of academics. And in fact, the first 9 weeks of all of our classes, no matter what stage you're at, whether it's Culinary 1 or Culinary 2, you are doing strict book work. And the reason for that is in Culinary 1, they're doing their certification the first 9 weeks. We're doing our certification the first 9 weeks. And once those kids have passed that, I call it the training grounds, if you will, then we can start working our way into the kitchen. That's where we actually start learning culinary techniques, and we'll study for about 1 to 2 weeks academically, and then we'll do 1 to 2 weeks inside the lab, and that's kind of how we rotate. Culinary 1 is based upon roughly about 75% book work, 25% cooking. When they get to Culinary 2, it's about 50-50, and to get to my advanced class, it's about 90% cooking, 10% book work, because they're running a business. So they're learning with their hands as opposed to just with learning to have a textbook. Everything that they're doing is working with the hands at that point.
Okay. One thing I think that's important for our guests to see is that to see the highlights and to get a kind of like a sense of what exactly is going on in your classroom, because we want to show that to everyone. So we're now going to show you some highlights taken from Fort Pierce Central's Culinary Arts classrooms in their lab space. And the video was created by Xandrin Ramos of St. Lucie West Centennial. So one of the things that I've noticed is that there's a certain sense of pride that you see in each one of your students. Do you all have like certain expectations that you set for your students from the very beginning, from class 1 with Mrs. S all the way to you, Chef? Do you all have those expectations from day 1 with them?
Oh, absolutely. We have a contract that the students sign when they come in saying that, number one, they're going to respect everybody and they're going to follow the rules of the lab. There's no fooling around because we're dealing with knives and sharp instruments, so we have to be safe. And like Chef was telling everyone, it's 25% cooking. But the kids are awesome. I mean, they love when we go to labs. And now I'm even taking the children over to the larger kitchen, and they get really excited when they're over there because it's, you know, great kitchen space. And they really follow the rules. They love cooking, so you know, just set the standards high.
Absolutely. And you know, when they get to culinary too, the expectation is that they do the academic work. If it's not done, they don't get to participate in any of our labs. And that's to kind of help motivate that student that you have to follow through with everything, because that's life, right? Life is the best teacher they're going to have. So when they get done with that academics, they are understand on an academic level. When they get into the kitchen, they understand why they had to learn it through a book or through through our online platform. And the reason is because they want to learn the science. We connect the science to everything. So when you change the molecular structure of any type of food by applying heat to it, that's nice when they read about it, but when they actually see it, that's where it really means, that's where it really connects for them.
Okay.
And the parents love, we teach the kids cleaning, sweeping, mopping, and laundry.
I'm
Absolutely.
sure.
Life skills.
Sure.
Yeah.
Life skills.
So then you're teaching them the difference between what you would do if you were in a business or in a restaurant setting versus what you would do at home. And then also, what types of technology or appliances are they using in the classroom that they won't necessarily have at home?
Well, that's what's great about the Culinary One kitchen. The Culinary One kitchen is set up just like they would probably have at home, with a standard electric, burner, utilizing microwaves, utilizing side burners. And they have to learn in that environment for that year. And so that class right there is teaching them a good amount of life skills about safety, sanitation, and how to be able to cook in that type of environment. When they get to my kitchen is when it changes, because now we're teaching them a restaurant industry. Everything we're dealing with, we have gas, we do have electric, we have different types of equipment that they're probably not used to. So we actually learn about those pieces of equipment in Culinary One, but also we reiterate that same information in Culinary Two, so that they're very safe and they feel comfortable working within the big kitchen.
We have the big kitchen mixers. How big are your KitchenAid mixers?
They're massive. They're like 20 quart, 30 quart, 40 quart mixers, and we go over the safety of those, because just by turning one of those off, that takes about a minute for it to actually stop. If they put their spatula into there, they can easily break a finger or break a hand or something like that. So we teach all that stuff before. And we do walkthroughs through the kitchen. We do kind of a dry run where we don't deal with any food and stuff. We just go over all of the safety and sanitation academically and also in person with their hands.
And we have the conduction ovens.
Induction burners, yeah.
And you also have a combi oven that's about $30,000.
Yeah, it's a very expensive piece of equipment, so we train them properly on it so they don't break it. It's a combination of an oven, also a steamer, and it has multiple functions where you can control the humidity for different types of breads and different cooking environments.
Okay. Now, one of the things that I know you all have mentioned prior to this this part was that you were talking about opportunities going beyond the classroom. Do you all ever bring in guest speakers, or whether it's virtually because of what's going on right now, but do you all offer those opportunities for your students to connect outside?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, prior to COVID, we had field trips and stuff, and we will continue that once we get through all of this. And we go to different schools. We go to UCF, we go to Johnson and Wales. We go to Kaiser University,
FIU.
FIU. We also go to IRSC, and we visit these schools to show them the opportunities if they want to go past high school within this industry. We also, on a virtual level for this year, we've done a lot of virtual field trips with different restaurants throughout our community. Every school, we're kind of hosting different field trips, virtual field trips with different restaurants and hotels. In schools and stuff throughout this year to kind of really give the kids the same sense to understand of the different opportunities that are out there. We also have different armed forces come in and explain, to the kids the different opportunities there. So we're trying to give every opportunity for them to be successful within this industry, not just during their high school time, but then after they graduate.
We're working on doing a Valencia College virtual field trip right now. because we went there, they have a great culinary program that bridges over to UCF Rosen College.
Yeah.
And we also did a Texas Roadhouse restaurant virtual field trip this year earlier as well.
Absolutely.
Now, didn't you all, as educators, didn't you all do some sort of like what we call it, the kitchen crawl? You want to explain that to us and the connections with the businesses?
Yeah, so we, in the past couple of years, we've also have done a kitchen crawl where we're basically we went to downtown Fort Pierce about 2 years ago. We visited all the different restaurants and what they're looking for, within their workers. And so when our students, if they're looking for jobs and looking for different opportunities in our own backyard, they actually could be able to go to these places to actually become employed. We just last year we did Port St. Lucie. We did all the areas within Port St. Lucie and visiting many different restaurants and looking at their opportunities as well. Absolutely.
Right, some of the restaurants that our students work at, Taco Dive, Second Street Bistro,
Yep.
Subway, Panera Bread.
The Cake Lady in Fort
Cake
Pierce,
Lady,
we visited
right,
her as well. Yeah.
All right. And it's really important. I'm so glad to hear that, because not everyone understands that it's important to still be connected to the community. But not only that, but it allows opportunities for networking especially for your students too. All right. So do you all offer or do any like capstone projects, or maybe like end of the year projects, or maybe with your, your upper level students, or your, do they do, besides like, how would you say that they're doing, okay, this is that actually sets you apart from the beginning student to the end?
Yeah, so in culinary too, we do several different things towards the end of the school year. So after we get through all the cooking knowledge, we start doing some kind of free-for-all cooking where they are pretty much cleaning out our freezer and stuff like that and trying different things. And it's kind of like a little chopped edition thing where they're able to just kind of cook whatever they want to really showcase their skill set. Also, it kind of showcases to me what students would be a good fit for our advanced class. But also within this last 9 weeks, we do resumes, cover letters, and job applications, and we actually do job interviews inside the class as well. And yes, it has nothing to do with culinary directly, but indirectly, if you have all the skill set, you have to be able to get a job. So in order to get a job or to be able to get into college, you have to know how to interview. So that's some stuff that we do. We develop a resume, we develop a cover letter for a fake job, if you will, and then we actually hold job interviews with all the students around them. And then they're basically job interviewing as one person as the employer, the other person as the interviewee, and then we rotate those. And going to a job interview is just like having 100 people surrounded by you staring at you. So we put that same fear into that student to be able to teach them how to be able to have that interview properly. Then in the advanced culinary class, we do. Not only are we running a business all school year, but the last 9 weeks we start training them on how to be able to create a dish in a very short amount of time with limited amount of ingredients. And their final exam in that advanced class is a mystery basket exam. So again, just like CHOP, but at this point, it's their final exam. It's 20% of their whole entire grade for the school year. So it's going to be a mystery basket where there might be random proteins, random starches, random vegetables. They have one day to be able to grab all their food in a 90-minute period and create a menu. And then the following day, they have a 45-minute window to be able to actually heat up that dish, plate it up, and then serve it to me and a guest judge to be able to be graded.
It's a lot of fun. Chef and I go shopping at Sam's and we get some good proteins like tripe and tongue.
Yeah,
Oh.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, what is your students' response or their reaction when they see that? They open up their basket, they're like, oh.
They get to choose the protein, but some of them
Yep.
choose it because it's challenging and
Okay.
they accept the challenge. So
There won't be no chicken breast there, I can promise you that.
Okay, so with that being said, talking about competitions, have you all done any competition with your students, whether it's local or whether it's outside of our local area?
Yeah, we participate in several different competitions. A lot of our competitions, obviously, the end of last year and all of this year have really been canceled, so we're not participating currently. But what we did in the past and what we're going to do in the future is we participate in our local competition. We have a local culinary competition we've done every year that we compete amongst all the 5 culinary schools, and we've taken first place several times with that. We've also compete in a cafeteria style recipe with the limitations regulations and the restrictions that the cafeteria system has to do on our free and reduced lunch program. They give us a set amount of food. They let us know how many people it's going to be, and the students have to create a menu based upon the healthy options that they have to choose from to be able to create a dish. We've won that once, and I know some other schools have won the last time we had it. So we'll be continuing that. But also we compete on a state level and a national level of ProStart. And ProStart is backed by the Florida Restaurant Lodging Association. And it's a competition that the students, 4 different categories, we compete in management, and the students have to design a whole entire restaurant, and they have to, from the top down, understand about management, business plan, everything, and then they have to sell it almost like a Shark Tank television show in front of all these investors. And that is how they're actually graded, and there's about 400 programs in the state, and out of that 400, about 50 are invited to this competition. We've been invited every year, so we've been very fortunate for that.
That's amazing.
And just about 2 years ago, we placed 3rd in the state for that particular competition. So it teaches the students a lot. They get medals for this. They also get scholarships. And so that's really the point, is to be able to take their knowledge that they've been learning and be able to compete on a grander scale.
Right, they also get to network at the competition, so a lot of them get job offers from going to the competition.
Absolutely.
It's a lot of fun.
So what would you all say is the most rewarding part of being an educator, especially in the Culinary Arts program at Fort Pierce Central High School?
Cindy?
I think I like when the kids come back and share what they're doing with us, whether it's culinary or not. But I even had a student a couple days ago. She's awesome, she's really smart, and she answers all my questions, and she doesn't think she wants to be working in the culinary field, but I told her, I said, I have a premonition for you. I think in about 5 to 10 years you're going to come back and tell me that you've switched your profession. So when they come back and share that exciting news with us, that's so rewarding. Just helping them choose their future.
Absolutely. I mean, and from attending graduation, every teacher should go to graduation. You see that student from when you had them when they were young to now they're becoming a young adult, they're graduating, and then when they come back. An effective educator, you become an effective educator when you have students that come back to visit you every year. And that's because they were motivated by you. They were touched by you, and for them to be out in the industry, maybe doing just as good as you, if not even better, that's the whole point. That's the whole purpose of why we do what we do.
Okay. So if you had a student that, I'm sure they come to you all possibly all the time, but if a student's like not sure, or what the expectations are, or maybe it's like a freshman, or maybe even an 8th grade saying, hey, I'm interested in your program, but I'm not sure, what would you say to that student who's looking at the show right now, or even that parent saying, I think my child may be good for this program? What would you say to them?
Absolutely, take culinary, and even if you decide it's not for you, you're going to learn some life skills and have fun. But when you stay in our culinary program, we kind of are a big family, like Chef was telling. The culinary 2s, I get to see them, mature from culinary 1 to culinary 2, and it's really exciting. And then the ones that stay in the advanced program, it's kind of like they're my kids right now, because my kids are grown, and I miss that at home, so I kind of like take them all under my wing, and we're one big happy family. So absolutely take it and try it out, see if you like it.
So as we prepare to close, all right, I really appreciate you both for being with us today. Is there anything that you would add? Like, where would a parent or someone watching, or even a student, find out more information about Culinary Arts at Fort Pierce Central?
You can go to our website. Our website is fpccobracafe.com. We utilize that website with my advanced students. They edit it every year. And what they do is we put on there ways that we, people from the community can contact us for catering events and things of that nature, but also we have information about our program on there, how to contact us. And one thing we do with the Freshman Academy at our school, we started this year, is we started reaching out to all the freshmen to showcase our programs so that they have a better understanding when they start enrolling their 10th grade year.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you both for coming today.
Thank you very much.